You're hanging out with the crew of Demon 305, and we have Griffin Conine, Miami Marlins. What's going on, man?
How we doing?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Now, we have so much to talk about. First of all, and of course we have Arm in the building over there. You have to let us know, at what point did you fall in love with baseball?
It was like, at a young age, obviously, my dad was playing up until I was 10 years old. But those are like my very distant early memories, so I don't have anything like super strongly. I was like obviously a big fan of the Marlins and his, but I think like after he retired and he was still pretty involved with the team in the years after, so like 08, 09, 2010, that was when I started playing travel ball and like really getting into it. I'd spend a lot of my summers were always going to the old Marlins Park that used to play at the Dolphin Stadium. So I grew really close to that team. You know, Dan Uggla, Hanley Ramirez. There was a lot of talent there, and they're all very young and up and coming. So that was a fun team to be involved with.
How does that work? Like, is there pressure from the outside, or from family, or is it like self-imposed?
I think it's definitely self-imposed for me. Like my dad was never the one. I mean, I try to picture it myself now that I'm older and I'm not close to having kids myself, but I try to put myself in his shoes about having a kid, like having this great career, and you have a kid that's for 3 or 4 years had no interest in baseball. Like when it's getting close to the time where it's like, if you're gonna want to do this, like you got to start working at it.
Yeah.
And but he never there was never one time I can remember where he's like, you got to do this, or like we got to go hit. He was always like, he'd go anytime I asked him to if I wanted to go, but he was like waiting for that, for me to show like I want to do this. And then once I did, he was all in on it. He's always giving me advice, and but he was never the type to be like, you got to do this, or like, this is the path for you. He waited for me to kind of show that I wanted to do that, and then and that was a blessing, you know.
Now, how do you make the decision from after high school? Like, how do you know what's next? The minors, you're going to college. How does that decision happen?
I was a very undersized freshman. I was not a great player by any means my freshman year, even sophomore year.
What's a small player in baseball?
So like freshman year, I was probably like 5'10", 150 pounds, 160.
Oh, wow.
I was pretty skinny.
Yeah.
You know, I was always skinny growing up, and I hadn't really like gotten into the weight room by that point yet. I think I ended up getting recruited to Duke because I had a big jump. Going to my junior year, I gained like 30 pounds.
Wow.
Started getting in the weight room, started to hit home runs, and I just, I was a late bloomer, so I didn't really have a choice in the matter. And I think I started off looking at a lot of like Ivy League type schools that the baseball wasn't as good, but you know, my high school I went to was very academic, and I thought baseball, I had decent grades, you know, and I thought baseball could kind of get me into a good education. At this point, I was still unsure of pro ball even being an option. You know, I wanted to like make sure I was set up for after college if I ended up doing whatever I was going to do.
So you're a Duke Blue Devil, all right? How do you know what's next? How many years did you play there, and then what was the idea after college?
You know, I had a decent fall. I ended up starting a few games like early on in the season. We had someone get hurt that was like an older guy, maybe a sophomore, junior, an outfielder. So I kind of had like a position where I could go play early on, and I kind of got dominated. You know, like I was not ready mentally, you know, physically. I think at this time I was not undersized anymore, but I think it was more mental. Like I had faced nothing like this pitching in the ACC that I'd faced in high school. Even like South Florida is pretty competitive baseball and like good baseball, but you're facing like every day, you're facing the best arm you faced in high school. It seemed like, you know, got like Zach Gallen. I remember I started against him, and he's now, you know, Cy Young candidate with the Diamondbacks. And I mean, that was just like kind of opened my eyes to like, wow, like this is next level stuff.
Like how do you, because a lot of young kids that are watching us, you know, we're always talking about, you know, the grind. People see, you know, you the Major League Baseball player, but they don't see the grind and the process and the hard work and the tribulations that took, right?
It was tough, no doubt. This is the first time, you know, and since before high school where like I found myself not playing. And I think one of the main things is like the work never stops. Like BP, always working on something, always improving, always trying to get stronger, better, whatever it may be. But I think it really happened for me when I got to summer ball, because it's tough in college when you got the coach's eyes on you at all times. You got the hitting coach, you got all these things that you're doing. And summer ball was the time that I could go and kind of just play and let focus on what I wanted to work on. You know, you're not doing all these crazy practices where you're doing team D and all this stuff. You can kind of just really focus on what you want to focus on. So I think when I went to summer ball and had a good year there, and I started to like find my power again that I found in high school. And after that, I ended up hitting like 16 home runs that summer.
The Marlins. So tell me about how that happened and what went through your mind when you get that call.
It was a lot of mixed emotions. It was actually like I saw a tweet from Craig Mish, who's like, he covers the Marlins, he has for years. And I was just scrolling Twitter and then I saw that.
That's how you found out?
That's how I found out.
No way.
Yeah, and I got a call very shortly after that, but he like, that was the first thing I saw. The initial reaction was like, not great. You know, I was just like, damn, like this is kind of like how I saw making it to the big leagues with this team that drafted me, and now I'm with this whole other team. But then then it sets in like, okay, I'm with the team I grew up watching. So it was mixed emotions, but I think at the end of the day, like, it was during COVID, so once I got to spring training and got to actually like feel like I was a part of the team, I think I was pretty happy about it.
Now, what's next? You know, it's about to start, right? The league's about to start here in March. A lot of exciting things for you. What are you looking forward to? What are you trying to accomplish? What are your goals this upcoming season?
I think one of the main things is come out in spring training and make a statement. You know, I think I came up end of last year for a month, you know, so a pretty small sample size, and I played pretty well. You know, I'm happy with the performance, but at the same time, it was such a short sample size that like you got to go and show that you belong. And I think I did that last year in the month I was up. But spring training is a whole different ballgame of like making opening day roster and then being up the whole year and be like, show like I'm gonna contribute to this team. I'm here for the long run. And you spend a lot of time in the minors. You know, for me it was almost 6 years in the minors. So
Jeez.
It's a long time to grind for it. And then people are always kind of like, you spend that much time in the minors, you know, maybe he's just not ready for the big leagues, or it gets a lot harder to make it up when your age gets above a certain level, because they're always gonna err on the younger side. They want the younger guys and future. But then you see guys like Mike Yastrzemski, who's with the Giants, and similar to me, he had 2,000 minor league at-bats, and he ends up getting called up, and now he's been a starter every year he's been up for, you know, however many years it's been, and been a great player. So I think I look to a guy like that, and I'm like, that kind of gives me confidence. Like, he did it, you know, why can't I? You know, I'm ready for it.
We're excited to see what you do, man. We'll be there opening day to support. Thank you, brother.
Sounds good, yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming out.
Of course, man.